News. And coming up in the bulletin, victims of locked up investments demand release of full 4 billion cedis allocated in the 2024 budget to settle their claims, insisting they will not take half payments as they charge Parliament to probe all monies allocated to offset their locked up funds in previous budgets.
Now, let's put that aside. Government has reallocated 4 billion in the 2024 budget for our payments. Parliament has approved it again. So why is the finance minister coming out to announce 1.5 billion?
More from customers of the defunct Gold Coast Fund Management as they serve notice to vote out the NPP government if their funds are not paid.
We will also do our part in this election. If they don't want to have the Gold Coast Fund Management customers as another political force to deal with in going into these elections, they should do the needful. And we will have our fair share in this year's campaign. We are not just going to campaign for people to vote against the NPP and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Together with our family and our loved ones, are going to vote against them.
Also in the bulletin, organized labor to meet President Akufo-Addo later today over proposed sale of 60% stake of SNIT's shares in 4 hotels. Still ahead, management of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital in Kumasi condemned strike by some doctors at the oncology department as cancer patients receiving treatment at the facility lament impact of the strike.
So domina ba na kra na abroya so be free Western region we ayi bedu anajo be no me ze bi 2 o'clock ye be da bu so msa na de be chene ye say doctor ni wo be hwe wa haye
me fia for region and na mafuka fi ho abedru ha ye ba na doctor na nhwe ya eye ka.
And the Electoral Commission expresses confidence in modalities introduced to sanitize special voting processes following repeated disenfranchisement of participants.
We used to overlook the law and allow people to just submit a list and comply for them. This time, because of what we are saying, and we want to comply with the law. So what we are saying is that your employers should introduce you.
Details of these stories and many more, including sports, are coming up in the next 30 minutes. Stay tuned in. Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch. You're welcome once again to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM here in Accra, coming to you live from our studios at the Platinum Place. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey. To the details of our stories now, we're starting with issues relating to funds, locked up investment. Well, victims of locked up investment in the country are demanding the release of the full 4 billion cedis allocated in the 2024 budget to settle their claims, insisting they will not take half payment. Now, this comes on the back of Finance Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam's recent assertion that President Akufo-Addo has given a directive for the release of 1.5 billion cedis to assist customers affected by the banking sector cleanup operation, which affected their investment. Well, Dr. Amin Adam emphasized that the president's directive for the disbursement, which is to be completed between now and October, underscores that the government prioritizes the welfare of the Ghanaian people. Well, speaking to GH1 and Starr News, convener of the customers of the defunct Gold Coast, now Black Shield Fund Management, charged Parliament to probe all monies allocated to offset their locked-up funds in previous budgets.
Because of the actions and inactions of both government regulators and the fund managers, we are where we are today. And government taking over the liability to pay us has taken the government 6 years, in spite of the government getting all the approvals of the allocations that they made in the 2020 mid-year budget and 2021 main budget, which summed the total amount to pay all victims of financial cleanup exercise to, let me say, 25 billion, which the finance minister, the former finance minister, let me say the finance ministry, have sent a report that is in 2022 to the House of Parliament that the approval that they gave for these 25 billion to be spent in paying the victims of financial cleanup exercise have been disbursed, meaning they have paid everybody in full. So how come they keep on allocating monies in subsequent budgets? Let's talk of the 2024 budget, that's 4 billion to pay us again. We want the Parliament to probe into this because full bailout package was approved for every customer. Report has been brought back to the Parliament that we have disbursed this amount. Why then are we crying for our money again? Now, let's put that aside. Government has reallocated 4 billion in the 2024 budget for our payments. Parliament has approved it again. So why is the finance minister coming out to announce 1.5 billion, knowing that it has been 6 years and the least they could do is to pay these depreciated funds in full? When you look at time value for money and the depreciation and all that, the money's value has been depreciated up to 75%. So if the money was worth 20 Ghana cedis in 2020 and 2018, now it's worth 5 Ghana cedis. And that the government doesn't want to pay in full, in spite of getting parliamentary approval from the budgetary allocation. So is it a deliberate attempt for the government to maltreat its citizens? Or is it that the government is so insensitive that it cannot read through the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian? As we are talking now, we've had over 900 of our customers die. They are dead and gone, and most of them are the aged. When you listen to the narrative behind their death, you realize that most of them were having medical conditions. You and I will agree that when you grow, the health deteriorates, and you need a lot of medical attention to keep you in shape. These people worked for years, and they saved their money for the rainy day. And because they couldn't access these monies that was meant to take care of their periodic medical cares and whatever, some of them knew they were going to die without medical care, and they sat aloof and died because of some decision of a certain government. And if among all these ordeals,
you had the convener of the defunct customers of the defunct Gold Coast Fund Management. Well, he's also served notice that members of the association will have no option than to vote out the governing NPP if their funds are not paid to them in full.
We will also do our part in this election. If they don't want to have the Gold Coast Fund Management customers as another political force to deal with in going into these elections, they should do the needful. And we will have our fair share in this year's campaign. We are not just going to campaign for people to vote against the NPP and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Together with our family and our loved ones, are going to vote against them.
You had the convener of customers of the defunct Gold Coast Fund Management speaking there to Star News in relation to the happenings in that area, especially on the back of the finance minister's assertion that President Akufo-Addo has directed for some 1.5 billion cedis to be released to them. They say they want the sum in full.
If they couldn't pay me, Bank of Ghana or government to come in and pay us. Feeling pain every day, crying. I mean, I don't even know how to put it. Sometimes food to eat. If you give it to dog, they will eat it. If you give it to their dogs, they will never eat it. Why should that be?
As you may be aware, and as we have also found out in the report that is coming up, victims of these locked up investments, especially the pensioners, have been left worse off, with many of them struggling to fend for themselves. GH1 and Star News' Calvin Powell has more in this report dubbed Painful Pension.
3,000 from.
Our elderly people will be recognized for their roles in building Ghana and assured of care in the dusk of their life.
You are not showing respect to us. We have sent several letters and reminders. So you want to tell us that you've not received any reminder, you've not received any letter to this effect?
Because you don't solve your problems by sacrificing your aged.
Retirement is often envisioned as a time to relax, enjoy the fruits of decades of hard work, and bask in the company of loved ones. However, for many in Ghana, the reality is far from this ideal. Those who fail to plan for their retirement face significant hardships. But even those who diligently saved and invested are now finding themselves in a similar predicament. Unfortunately, the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, aimed at restructuring Ghana's debt, has led to the freezing and restructuring of domestic bonds. This has caused immense distress for bondholders, particularly retirees who rely on these investments for their livelihood. One such individual is Gladys Short. At 72, she is dealing with multiple health conditions and is in dire straits. Despite her careful planning and investing in financial institutions to secure her pension, old age has not been kind to her. Besides struggling to find funds to take care of her health, she drags herself to the streets to protest.
Right now, I'm due to go for a medical review, but I haven't been able to go because when I go, by all means, the doctor is going to ask you to do some tests, maybe do some X-ray, and it's not possible. As I'm sitting down now, it's difficult for me to raise my right. I just want my money. I invested so that when I retire, I'll have money to live my life comfortably. Now I've retired, I'm sitting at home, and I don't have the. It's not fair at all.
She is disappointed that Nana Akufo-Addo has failed to honor his promise of ensuring that the elderly are taken care of in the dusk of their lives. Another affected individual is Georgina Ajutengi, a 53-year-old petty trader who painstakingly saved money from her business and invested in NDK Financial Services for many years. She had her future figured out, but now, with just 7 years to retirement, she is worried about how she will survive. Georgina has developed a spinal problem, and funding her treatment has become a major concern.
That is my 12. I didn't went and still. I didn't do any government work. I do a pampamu store. And now, my spine. And now, I'm sick. That bank have been registered. If they couldn't pay me, Bank of Ghana or government to come in and pay us. Feeling pain every day, crying. I don't even know how to put it. Sometimes food to eat. If you give it to dog, they will eat it. If you give it to their dogs, they will never eat it. Why should that be? Common prescription they've given to me from last month. Last month, I couldn't buy it. And this arthritis, they asked me to go to Kolebu orthopedic. If I'm coming, I should bring 3,000. Where am I going to get it from? Where am I going to get that 3,000 from?
You heard there a pensioner there ending that report by Calvin Powell. The extensive version will play later on Starr today, but it's nothing short of heartbreaking to hear a pensioner in this state because through no fault of hers, some way, somehow, her investments is locked up somehow, or she suffered some cuts as a result of the economic downturn. This is still the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Let's switch our attention now to issues relating to SNIT and its intention or plans to sell 60% of its stake to the company belonging to the Member of Parliament for Abetifi and Minister for Agriculture, Brian Champong. As you do know, there has been some agitations on the Labour front. They are kicking against it, and they are expected to meet with President Akufo-Addo today. As you do know, they had requested a meeting with him following the alarm that was blown by the Member of Parliament for Notong, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. I'm joined in the studio by Abdul Hanan Adam. With more on this, Hanan, has the meeting begun? Do we know?
Well, the first phase of the meeting has begun, which is Labour themselves having a meeting with members of organized Labour. And before they would have that meeting with the president later this evening, we understand. And so the president has a series of meetings today, and this meeting is supposed to be one of the meetings that the president will be engaging people regarding what is happening in the country. And so Labour, on 30th May, when they met with the Elizabeth Ohene-led board of the Senate, they told the board that they don't want the deal to go on. They want the deal to be cancelled. They want it abrogated immediately. But the board told them that the deal was not concluded yet. But if it is concluded or not, they want it cancelled. And later the same day, they met with the Minister for Labour Relations. That is at the behest of the president. So the president actually directed the minister to engage Labour and first of all understand what their concerns are regarding that issue. And at that particular meeting, Labour maintained its position and told the minister that, well, this is our position and we've communicated. It is very clear. We want the deal to be abrogated, and that is non-negotiable. Then the minister reported back to the president. But unfortunately, I mean, there are certain things that are not clear. So I'm sure the president really wants to understand what the issues are, even though Labour, even before their meeting with Senate and then the minister, they actually requested that they wanted to meet with the president. And, you know, aside that, they have other issues and other recommendations that they are making. They also want a total takeover of the management of the day-to-day management and activities of pension funds, because they believe that that money that is invested in other businesses does not belong to government. It is not government money. It is the taxpayers' money or is the workers' money. And so government has no business, you know, taking over the control and management of these resources that the Ghanaian worker contributes to the fund every now and then.
So from briefly, from all the indications you have picked, they are likely to maintain their stance that the deal has to be off.
They are likely to maintain their stance. But earlier, I also understand that they actually want, you know, some, you know, capital injection by getting new investors to take over the businesses that are struggling.
Okay.
But selling those that are performing well to an individual who is a member of government is actually problematic for them. But it is not as if they don't want any capital injection or they don't want any investor to come into the picture. But the issue has to do with conflict of interest, and some members of organized labor are also siding with Okudzeto Ablakwa that this is actually state capture.
All right, thank you very much. Hanan Abdul Adam bringing us the details in relation to the expected meeting organized labor is to have with President Nana Dedei Akufo-Addo in relation to the sale of 60% stake in 4 of its hotels. Let's now turn our attention to issues relating to health and management of the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital in Kumasi has condemned the ongoing strike by some doctors at the oncology department. Now, yesterday, 7 out of the 11 doctors at the oncology department of the hospital embarked on a strike, leaving several cancer patients stranded. The doctors say their action was to compel government, or management rather, of the hospital to fix all broken cancer treatment machines at the facility, particularly the water phantom needed for the calibration of one of the devices. Now, their decision was, however, affected patients who are currently receiving treatment. Some of them spoke to Star News.
Doctors in Bebre are Medjuma,
Some of us are coming from Western region. We get here around 2 a.m. and we sleep outside to wait for the doctors to be told that doctors are not at post. This is very worrying.
Western region, where you do an adjube normies, they were 2 o'clock. The better was soon around the veterinary say, Doctor, you are over show a high. Cancer no more, we are doing a crown, and what they know for now, best a jatum.
If you have for region, and then I'm Africa if you are bedruha. Na Sebia, my boka is eka. I mean, yes, sorry.
Me, I am from Ahafo region. I have spent money to get here. I left home at 2 a.m. and we get here and doctors are not at post.
Because it
becomes waste of money and time for us.
The referral by that because I said doctors no.
You heard there some of the patients who had gone to the oncology department of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital to receive treatment there. Well, Deputy Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Yao Pare-Labi, says the action of the doctors is regrettably needless. According to him, management had fulfilled all necessary procurement procedures to replace the broken equipment at the oncology department. Now, speaking to Star News, Dr. Pare-Labi expressed surprise and disappointment that the doctors, fully aware of the measures taken by management, would still choose to strike over this issue.
So after a couple of meetings with them, they decided, initially they said they were going to go on strike on the 17th. And then they decided that they were going to abandon the initial roadmap and shift it to 24th, by which time, if the phantom was not in and the machine operational, they were going to go on strike. Now in the oncology department, we have patients who are also on chemotherapy, hormonal therapy. So some patients are there who are receiving treatment, and based on their conditions, they are not using radiotherapy. So we actually told them that, why would you want the other patients who do not use radiotherapy to suffer?
You heard the Deputy Medical Director of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, Dr. Yao Pare-Labi there. Let's go over the telephone line and speak to our Ashanti Regional Correspondent, Isaac Bediako Justice, for more on this. So, Isaac, as of yesterday, they said that, 7 out of the 11 doctors available had laid down their tools. Have the numbers improved as of today?
Now the numbers remain as it is. Currently, the doctors, majority of them are not working. It is only the consultants who are assisting patients who have come there. As at 8 a.m., patients were left stranded in the facility because there were no doctor around there to assist them. It is only Dr. Osebuzu, who is a consultant. He's the one trying to assist the few patients who have come there. So that has been the situation from yesterday up to date. A lot of them who came early in the morning, because some of them, when they are coming, they do not take breakfast before they come. And so those who came in early in the morning and were told that the doctors are on strike, they had to also leave the facility. And majority of the patients are coming from outside Ashanti region. Some of them are coming from Western North Ahafo region because of the specialist treatment that they receive from the facility. So that is what is the situation now. Management are doing their best to, talk to them, but the doctors are not open for any engagement. Yesterday, in particular, the Ashanti Regional Branch of the Ghana Medical Association, the president invited the striking doctors for a meeting, but they declined to come. And so they have also communicated to management that the doctors are not open for any further engagement. So that is the situation now. Nothing has changed.
All right, thank you very much. Isaac Bediako Justice is our Ashanti Regional Correspondent, bringing us up to speed with the situation on the ground. Time now to bring you sports, and Jones Haji is here. Good afternoon to you, Jones. What's in sports?
Good afternoon. So let's start off from athletics, and Ghana's 4x100 meters women's relay team came in second place behind Nigeria to claim silver at the ongoing African Athletics Championship in Cameroon. And in the men's category, Ghana's quartet comprising of Edwin Gadai, Fuseini Ibrahim, Isaac Buchu, and then Saminu Abdul Rashid won gold in the men's 4x100 meters relay event in Douala. Now to the Euros France would face Poland, Netherlands would play Austria, Denmark would take on Serbia, and England would come up against Slovenia. And captain of the Three Lions, Harry Kane, has called for calm and is hoping the game in Cologne can be the team's springboard for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I think calm is the most important one. You know, a lot of us have been here and done that, and we've given England fans, you know, some fantastic times. And, you know, I know 99% of the fans are, you know, fully behind us and fully with us. But as always, you know, during the tournament, just to support us, as they always do, and I know they will. And then after the tournament, you can judge us. You know, I always say, when it's finished, there'll be people judging us. You know, we've had some good tournaments. We've had some tournaments where, you know, we've just fallen short. But yeah, during it, you know, it's down to us as players, as coaching staff, as the whole environment to get it right and find where we can improve. And of course, people will have their opinions, and that's no problem. But ultimately, it's going to be us who makes the decisions and to try and find the solution.
Meanwhile, midfielder Declan Rice says he's happy to play the 6 or 8 role for England.
Well, I only actually moved into the 8 position after Christmas. I played my first 6-7 months as a number 6 under Mikel. And my first ever discussions with him were for me to go to Arsenal and play as a number 6. That's where he sees me as my best position. But I think as we started to train more, play more, he liked me in the 8 role as well. It also gave us a little bit more balance when Georgie played. So that I can play both. I'm happy to play 8, I'm happy to play 6. You know, for England, the majority, I've always played number 6 and I've loved every single minute of it. But obviously, it's the manager's decision, whatever he sees. You know, I'll always go out there and give 100% no matter what.
And with that, that'll be all for sports. My name is Jones Aji.
Thank you very much, Jones, with the very latest in the world of sports. Let's bring you something related to the elections. And on the elections front, the Electoral Commission has expressed confidence in the new modalities it has introduced to sanitize a special voting register. The EC opened applications for special voting for persons and institutions deemed qualified to participate in the process. The EC says persons from the media, Electoral Commission officers and security services are expected to apply. However, issues such as disenfranchisement have been linked with the process. As such, more people are unwilling to participate. But Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Esrebo Kweko, is optimistic about the process for this year. He spoke to Star News.
We have started comparing the list from the 17th, and probably will finish on the 1st of July. So all those who qualify, and if you look at Regulation 50, it says that it is the Electoral Commission officers, the media, and the security services who qualify to vote on the special voting day.
Per the history that we have with special voting, sometimes they try to go and vote on special voting days and they are told, oh, their name is not on the list. They should rather vote on election day. On election day, they go and they are told, oh, their name was rather on the special voting list. How do such people attend for this disparity?
That is why this time around, we want to go strictly by the law. Previously, we used to overlook the law and allow people to just submit a list and we compile for them. This time, because of what we are saying, and we want to comply with the law. So what we are saying is that your employers should introduce you as per Regulation 2 of Regulation 23. Then you yourself will go personally to your constituency and get your name on it. So if you don't go, then you yourself will know that you did not apply. Therefore, you don't qualify to vote on the special voting day.
You had there Dr. Esrebo Kweko. He is the Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, speaking there to Francis Arban on the Morning Star. Now, just before we go, what began as a simple idea on the streets of Accra Central has grown to become a beloved local business known for its unique and delicious porridge creations. In the following report, GH1 and Star News' Abdul Hanan Adam tells the story of a young single mother of 2, Wasila Abdallah, who has turned a bowl of millet porridge, popularly known as Hausa Kuku, into a thriving business and is making waves in the food industry.
This is not your usual cocoa. No, this is Kokomu PhD. She degree awaje.
In the heart of the bustling city of Accra, Wasila Abdallah, a single mother of 2, runs a popular porridge business serving people from
And milk
different
what?
walks of life.
Okay, baby. You want to take some cash? Oh, of course. You got to make some cash.
As early as 6:30 a.m., customers gather at the spot adjacent the SIC building in the Central Business District to buy cocoa, a spicy millet porridge.
Baby, 4-3. Get 3 in you. Nimbi lady, I started selling this cocoa when I was in JSS. After school, if we are on vacation, I'll come and help my mom. So my granny started the cocoa before my mom. So they were siblings selling the cocoa. They were having branches. My aunties got married, so the branches got lost because they were not around. So when I was in SS3, I said, no, let me come and be selling the cocoa so that, because I love selling it.
However, this is not the work environment Wasila envisioned growing up in Nima, a Zango community in the East Ayawaso municipality. Her dream was to become a lawyer, but something drilled her.
Yeah, I'd wanted to be a lawyer. I'd wanted to, because that's my dream. I'd wanted to be a lawyer. But you know, when I was in SS3, something came up. I got pregnant, so I couldn't go back to school. I couldn't go back to school. So I said, why won't I hold on to this business?
Despite the setback, Wasila decided to take over the family business that has transcended 3 generations. She has taken the business to new heights.
Mrs. Trinwagwan, you want to buy cup? Okay. Extra sugar?
She has become a sensation not only with her spicy millet porridge filled with the aroma of fresh ingredients, but also with her impeccable English, aura, and how she handles her customers with finesse.
I sat down one day and talked to myself. I have no business aside this. So what will I do for my customers to be coming often? But you know what? There are some customers, they are very stubborn. Sometimes when they see you selling cocoa, they look down on you like you've never ever been to school before. But that's not the issue. So what I learned so far is, whatever you are doing, do it well. Do it very, very well.
Certainly, whatever you're doing, do it very well. And it's a very good note for us to end today's edition of the Starr Midday News. Definitely will bring you the extended version of this beautiful report put together by Hanan Abdul Adam subsequently on Starr today. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey. Thank you so much for your company. Have a good afternoon.